Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of the ZodWriter Show. I am ZodWriter, and with me, as always, is my co-host and great friend, Mr. Johnny Alpha, aka the leader of Pink Buzz / Graphic Vandalism. What's up, Johnny?
Not much, man. Pretty chilly. I thought I was cold tonight until I started reading Doug and Sox's posts in the chat. It's way colder where they're at, so I'm feeling bad for the boys. You know what I mean? Stay warm, fellas.
Hey, man! Shout out to Sox, man. Sox bulletins. Hashtag the Mikeyverse. Hashtag Sil Nation. Hashtag all that great stuff. The cool table. I mean, what do we got going on social media right now? We got the Fire James Gunn hashtag in full effect. You know, I mean, what is there to say at this point? I mean, this is kind of like my. I think this is going to be our final live stream talking about DC for a while, at least until something gets announced and we actually have a slate to see what Jimmy the Fire Everybody boss decides to do. But let's see what's going on with the chat here. I see all you people in here today, and I'm so excited and happy to have you here for this DC stream where we're going to be talking about Henry Cavill no longer being Superman and Patty Jenkins not getting her third Wonder Woman movie. Where does that leave Gal Gadot? Where does that leave Ben Affleck? It sounds like they're out too. And
Gal Gadot will probably go with Patty Jenkins and just be up in a Star War next year. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like happening with that whole group, in my opinion, from Patty's tweets.
What do we got with the chat here? We got Douglas Murphy saying threw in a little, doesn't start till 3 a.m. here, so may not be awake for it. Sad times, guys. Yeah, Douglas, sad times indeed. Johnny and I were talking about this prior to the stream starting, and I think the worst part about it, I feel the worst for Henry Cavill. Because he was like a little kid. He was so excited to be coming back. When he did that Instagram post, if that didn't give you hope, nothing else would. I mean, it was such a glorious post that he did. And then this one, the second post, he didn't actually do a live post. He wrote something out because it was just somber and depressing. I can't even imagine what he must be going through, because we know he was excited to come back as Superman. And I've said this a bunch of times before, Johnny, even people who don't like Zack Snyder's vision for the DC EU.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah, we're happy with the castings for these actors. These actors, did a good job in the roles with the material they were given. So even people, nobody wanted to see Henry Cavill not come back as Superman. He's grown as an actor, and he's definitely, he was definitely excited to be back. And it just sucks because because the idea of a full-on reboot is disgraceful at this point, if you ask me. I don't see how it's going to make money. And the bigger question is, how are these other 4 DC movies that are scheduled to come out that have nothing to do with the upcoming reboot that James Gunn is doing, how are those movies going to fare at the box office? Why?
Yeah, who's going to want to go see him? I mean, like, why would you go see Aquaman if he's not going to be Aquaman anymore? Like that, you might see Jason Momoa again in the DCEU, but he's not going to be. Yeah, he's not going to be Aquaman, and that story's not going to continue further. I mean, I wonder even if it makes another $1 billion, which, I mean, I'm not sure how the first Aquaman made $1 billion to begin with, but I mean, it was an okay movie, but like out of the DC movies, I don't see why that was like the biggest hit. Like it just seemed random to me, like a really random out of nowhere thing.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It makes no sense. We got Jay Sinise. Is that how you say that? Sinise says, FYI, it's extremely rude to call out fans. They are not true DC fans if they have one more time from if they have to one more time from Prime the Godfather, one more freaking time. No one has the right to call anyone to say anyone they are not DC fans. Look,
True that. Gatekeeping's a nasty habit. It's a disgusting habit.
It is. And let's be honest. If you're a DC fan, most of us have grown up comic book fans. Well, I know the two of us on this panel read comic books at a very young age and grew up loving these characters and wanting to see these characters appear in films and stuff like that. So I don't, I don't really subscribe to that at all about the whole you're not a DC fan. But there are people out there that are only fans of a particular genre or of a particular director or of a particular. There are people like that, but by and large, if you're a fan of these movies, you're a DC fan. If you're a fan of the MCU movies, whether you've never read a comic book in your life or whatever, you're considered a fan. So, I mean, I agree. I think it's ridiculous when you hear people say that, these people over here are not fans and these people over here are fans. Zeno, what's up, man? Says just plain weirdness. Oh, I agree. Yeah. It's definitely weird. Doesn't make any sense. It's how can you be invested? And what I don't understand, to your point, Johnny, about Aquaman earlier, right? The first Aquaman made $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
So why would you take a franchise that's $1 billion franchise and just scrap it, right? So you're gonna put out this Aquaman. So basically, are all of these movies Aquaman, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and Blue Beetle, are all four of these films simply going to be tax write-offs for the studio?
Not really. I think that they're gonna just put them out and make what of them that they will. If I was DC or if I was Warner Brothers, I would just shit can them. If I was just going to crumble everything up and throw it away and just start over anyways, I see no point in putting these films out. I don't unless they just think that people are just blindly going to go see them and not realize that these films are doomed. There's nothing following them. They're the end of the line for those franchises, at least for this. And it's just going to be confusing because in a couple of years when they cast some little blonde guy to play Aquaman, people are going to be like, well, where the hell was Momoa? We just saw him a year ago. Who's this Aquaman? Because general audience people, they don't really, know or care to learn about it as much as we do. So it's going to be confusing for a lot of folks. It's just kind of, but whatever, man. They chasing that Marvel money, and once again, they're coming at it way too late. I mean, I told you this off air because our last show got a little preachy because some people ended up on the stream. But one of the things that really is detrimental right now is Marvel. Their fans are struggling. So much of the general audience, it has become such a trendy thing to say, I'm tired of superhero movies, man. I only like The Boys and what's that other one? I always forget its name. Invincible. Those are the only two superhero things that's cool to like anymore. So them trying to make DC into Marvel Junior now is just such a stupid idea at this point in time because even Marvel movies are struggling to find audience at this moment. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't get the strategy, and I don't think that when you have four movies that you're planning to release, and all four of those movies take place in the currently existing DC continuity, I don't see how you release these movies knowing that your plan is just to reboot and not ever reference these characters again. I mean, there's got to be some, and let's be honest, James Gunn was at Marvel, so he knows. Okay, James Gunn knows that this is not a good idea, because when Infinity War there was all this controversy around Infinity War because there was a producer at Disney. I don't know if a lot of you in the chat right now are aware of this. I don't know how much y'all follow Marvel, but there was a producer that wanted to get rid of Robert Downey Jr. because he was so expensive. I believe he was the highest paid actor in the cast at the time. One of the highest.
I think he got like
actors.
$50 billion for that movie, right?
One of the highest paid actors of all time. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and he got a ridiculous amount. I think it was $50 million to do that movie. $50
million,
right?
And I think so. I think you're right, 100%. And so the producer wanted to fire Robert Downey Jr. and bring in somebody else, just a no-name actor or whatever, or at least a less expensive actor to come in and play Iron Man. And this was after Infinity War, before Endgame, right? Could you imagine if they did that? I'm just saying, imagine if this producer would have won. This producer ended up getting fired, but imagine if this producer would have got his way and you wouldn't have had Robert Downey Jr. That literally could have tanked the entire rest of the plans that Feige had for the MCU. Because you're talking about getting rid of a well-known, well-established Iron Man. Now we know, of course, Iron Man is out of it now, but this was back then when Marvel was at its peak with these movies, right? And now look, what's the last thing us fans remember? We just came out of Zack Snyder's Justice League. We just got Black Adam. You can count James Gunn's The Suicide Squad if you want to. I look at it like this. People are going to be massively confused. Like Johnny, like you said, the general audience is going to be completely thrown off guard when this reboot comes because they're going to be thinking that they're going to see Henry Cavill again as Superman because you just showed Henry Cavill in the most recent movie. And not only that, you've got 4 other movies that are coming out that are going to exist within that continuity. So how are you going to justify that? And I don't think any of the stuff with the reboot is going to be ready in time for the Flash movie. Because
dude.
Because the Flash movie is really the only movie where you can get away with doing that timey-wimey kind of multiversal kind of, shenanigans.
Even if they streamline a production, man, they won't have anything out until 2025 at the earliest, man.
Right. And that's why, like I said, and I understand, there's not a lot of time, right? That's the thing. It's not like there's time for them to, there's still time, there's still time for them to, put out these other movies in the meantime. But my problem is these other movies are leading us nowhere. These other movies are, to quote Ann Sarnoff, a cul-de-sac. These movies are not going anywhere, and we're basically just wasting our time as fans even being invested in these movies. And Zaslav is going to look at that and say, well, see, nobody cared about this. Nobody cared about this continuity because nobody went and saw these movies. No, nobody is going to go see these movies because you've already made it clear
because there's no continuity now
that you're rebooting. Yeah,
it's a dead franchise.
Yeah. So why are you going to release 4 movies in a dead franchise? Just scrap the movies entirely. And I don't even want to see, because here's the thing. I was excited for The Flash when I heard a lot of the things I'd been hearing about the movie. I'd heard that the movie is great, that Ezra's wonderful in it. I heard that the cast is awesome. I heard a lot of great things about this Flash movie, and then hearing that Henry Cavill filmed some Superman scenes for it, which I said last year I thought that Henry Cavill was going to be in the movie. But here's the thing. None of that matters now. Because this movie isn't going to lead to anything but a reboot that they don't even have ready to introduce anything. So it's not like they can even transition from The Flash into this reboot and show us like a new Batman, a new Superman, a new Wonder Woman, right?
That I know of, except for like Sasha Kaye's Supergirl, and that's retconned and rebooted now too, right? That's not going anywhere. They're like even going to be introducing characters that are dead on arrival in these films now, which is tragic in its own right, in my opinion.
Oh, and we've got James Gunn in the chat. James Gunn says, thank you to people like RJ for helping to educate me on how to navigate through DC fandom.
Yeah, mayonnaise is good at that.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, James, if you're listening, if you're listening to RJ, I can kind of understand why we're in this mess. I mean, makes perfect sense to me. I mean, why would you want to kill the Trinity at this point? Honestly, it's like you got Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Everybody wants to see it. I saw an interesting video today, and I know you guys are going to probably laugh at this, but from time to time, for entertainment purposes, I do watch Doomcock videos. I think Doomcock is funny, and he put a video out today where he talked about what happened with James Gunn and Henry Cavill, and he talked about how, according to his sources, the reason why they canned everything and decided not to go with Cavill and decided to move on was because Ben Affleck was having cold feet about playing Batman again.
I don't blame him.
And went into the offices and basically told them he does not want to be the DCU Batman moving forward. And because he doesn't want to be the DCEU Batman or the DCU Batman moving forward, Zaslav got fed up and told James Gunn, I don't know what to do here, threw his hands up and said, reboot the whole thing. We're going to start again from scratch.
As screwy as it sounds, that sounds like a likely situation. That sounds like it sounds real to me. You know,
it does.
That sounds Hollywood.
And I don't even. And that's the thing. I'm not somebody that pays any attention to Doomcock as a scooper or anything like that. I look at Doomcock as entertainment. I think his videos are funny. I take everything he says with a grain of salt. I don't take any of it serious. But this particular video made sense to me because, number one, Ben Affleck has left the role of Batman before. He's had cold feet before. He's wanted to walk away. Now he's doing his new production company with Matt Damon, and he wants to move on and he knows that WB right now is all over the place. They don't know what they want to do. Zaslav doesn't know what he's doing. That's why he hired James Gunn to do all this, because he didn't know. And all James Gunn has done is basically override everything that Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca had in place.
This guy's taken over. Like, he's like the king of Discovery anyways. Like, I'm halfway happy that like we're not getting told that like the Property Brothers and the Street Outlaws are going to be the new Justice League, because like that was almost what I was expecting when I heard this turd was taken over. So
I just don't know. I just don't know. And I feel like James Gunn is already aware. James, you're in the chat. Tell us, man. I mean, you already know what the deal is here. I mean, you already know that this reboot thing is a bad idea. And you know what? The biggest red flag for me, Johnny, is the fact that we know that James Gunn has an affinity for the lesser known DC characters, okay?
Yeah.
He likes the Weasel. He likes the Suicide Squad. He likes Amanda Waller. He likes Peacemaker. He likes the smaller, lesser known characters. He had no interest in Superman. And here is a little known fact, well, a fact that may not be known to a lot of people that have not been following this stuff, but I've been doing a lot of research since I've been writing my book, Pause Not Stopped, about Restore the Snyderverse and Release the Snyder Cut. But I've done a lot of research on James Gunn. And I also found out that James Gunn was offered by the old regime of Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada, all the old people that we affectionately call the Clown Table. The Clown Table offered James Gunn a Superman movie when he came on board. They were going to let him do whatever he wanted to do. If he wanted to recast Cavill, they were going to let him do it. Whatever he wanted to do, they were going to let him do Superman, okay? And he turned them down and said, no, I want to do Suicide Squad. So they gave him Suicide Squad. Now, you expect
Also,
us
very
to believe
story.
so you expect us to believe that all of a sudden, out of the blue, James Gunn is going to suddenly throw away his affinity for those lesser known characters and just decide, all of a sudden, I want to do Superman. Superman is my legacy. I want to do Superman. Remember, this is a guy who is on record about how much he loved Zack Snyder's vision for Superman, loved the, Man of Steel, loved that entire aesthetic, loved it so much that he was a producer of a movie called Brightburn that affectionately parodied Man of Steel. James Gunn was behind that movie, 100%. Okay? His name is all over the film. James Gunn knows he is not the filmmaker to do another Superman movie. He knows it, and we all know it. So this is what's making me think that Doomcock's report is 100% on point. Because why would they have all of these plans with DeLuca and Abdi about basically restoring the Snyderverse temporarily and allowing Zack to finish his arc, doing another Superman movie, continuing on with Black Adam, so on and so forth? Why would they go in this direction and then all of a sudden bring James Gunn in just to have James Gunn do with what Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada and all the rest of the clown table was originally going to do in the first place, which was reboot? It makes no sense. If they were hiring James Gunn to reboot, then they might as well have just kept the clown table. The only reason that they brought in James Gunn was because James Gunn was going to basically put in the bullet points and map out a slate based off of what they were currently doing, their existing plans. It makes no sense. So this is why I'm saying there had to have been something that changed over the last couple of weeks that made or months, for all we know, that made Zaslav finally throw his hands up and say, you know what, we're going to reboot. Because whatever y'all may think, and I'm not defending James Gunn at all, so don't think that that's what I'm doing here. But whatever y'all may think about James Gunn at this point, every decision that he makes has to go through David Zaslav first. If David Zaslav doesn't approve it, it doesn't happen. So this whole idea of him suddenly writing a Superman movie and it being his passion project sounds to me like complete and utter baloney.
Wolf tickets. Yeah.
I don't buy it. I think James Gunn knows that he doesn't want to do Superman. This is not something he wants to do. I would give James Gunn more credit than that and say James Gunn would probably just be like, let's just bring in Zack and let him finish his arc with Henry. Why am I gonna come in and try to redo Superman right now? It doesn't make sense. I want somebody to make it make sense for me because it's not making sense to me. Is it making sense to you, Johnny? Because
in a way it does, because like to bring these actors back, they cost a lot of money, especially because like you said, Henry Cavill's really grown as an actor. Ben Affleck is always in demand. He's always going to cost a lot. But Gal's also gone up. They were going to have to give her what, 10 million just for her. So like imagine how much more like people like Henry were going to be getting. So producers look at stuff like that. Like we were talking about the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing, and I think that like some of that might have got in the way too. I think because Warner Brothers is hurting for money right now. So one of the reasons why Aquaman and Flash got pushed back is because they didn't have enough money to actually pay to promote both films in the same year. That's why like there's such a long period between the films, and like I don't know what's going on with Warner Brothers, but I don't think that I don't know. I have to wait and see what they do, but like it sounds screwy to me, man. Like, and like I said before the show, I just really feel bad for Henry, man. Like his heartfelt tweet or post was just, and like he wasn't even sore about it, man. Or like if he was, he wasn't showing it. He was trying to keep you guys all still fired up for the character. You know, look at what Superman. You know, he's always still going to be Superman. He's still going to need us. And like
It's a
I don't know.
beautiful
It was
message.
really
It was a
yeah.
beautiful message. That's why I say I'm like, it's somebody who was, and I love the fact that I do this show with you, Johnny, because you're someone who was initially critical of Cavill, and the fact that now you can read that message and you can actually empathize and see, from the perspective of where that guy's coming from. It just says a lot to how much Henry Cavill truly embodied the role of Superman.
Well, after Justice League, I really wanted to see him play Superman in a Superman movie. Like Man of Steel was a neat experiment and stuff, but I really wanted to see him actually get to play Superman in like a solo film, and that's kind of a bummer. Like maybe they could do Earth One movies or something with Henry Cavill and continue the Man of Steel.
I just feel like there's something fishy going on with this whole Warner Brothers and James Gunn thing, because I just don't see. And then the fact that the man seems to have endless amount of time to be on social media arguing with people and defending himself. I mean, if you're really this busy and you're the president of DC Studios, you should not have copious amounts of time to be on Twitter hanging out with an RJ's DMs. You just shouldn't have time for that. You should actually be no. But this is so
you
funny,
think he's actually
Johnny.
DMing people though?
But this is the thing. This is the thing, Johnny. Allegedly, and this is what we're hearing, that RJ has been DMing back and forth with James Gunn, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, because a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now is so boneheaded that it doesn't really. I can't sit here and say that I'm shocked by any stretch of the imagination. Hello, ZodWriter. I'm Devilia Sinistra's friend, but sorry to inform you that she recently got herself into a car accident. She is recovering and soon will return to watch her show. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope she's okay. Thank you for coming on and letting me know about that. Yeah, she's one of my favorites. When she comes on and starts chatting with us, it's always fun. She always brings a smile to everybody's face. So prayers to her and to for her recovery. Thank you again for letting me know. I really appreciate that. And Showcaz says, and worst, they go and make hacks like Randolph look good. This is a great point, Showcaz, because that's another thing that we have to remember. Grace Randolph has been saying since last year, okay, that Henry Cavill is not back as Superman. She's been saying for the longest time that his cameo in Black Adam was nothing more than a one-off, that he will not be back in the role, continuing on. And now, again, it makes her look right. Now, to be fair though, Showcaz, I think she was just saying all this stuff before because she has a grudge against Henry Cavill. I don't think that she necessarily knew that, but I think it again, nonetheless, it's turned out to be true. Because the funniest thing that I'm noticing a lot now too is even I'm getting attacked on Twitter with people who are saying, "Oh, well, but Zod, you were the idiot telling all of us that the Snyderverse was restored. What happened?" And the truth is, we know what happened. James Gunn happened. James Gunn came in and has changed everything and is doing things differently. Before James Gunn came in, and it was reported by the trades, before James Gunn took over, and Sil Abdul reported this, and he scooped this, it was reported that Pam Abdi, okay, and Mike DeLuca had plans to restore the Snyderverse. It's in black and white. It's in these articles. It's on the trades. It's there. You can go and read it yourself. They had plans. They were going to do, it says right in one of the articles, I don't remember if it was the Variety or the Hollywood Reporter or which one it was, but in one of the articles it says right in there that they plan to do at least one more movie following up on Zack Snyder's Justice League. It says it right in there. So what does that mean? Clearly they were going to bring Zack back and they were going to let Zack do at least one more Justice League movie. That was going to be the plan. And why would you not follow up on the successful global phenomenon that Warner Brothers called Zack Snyder's Justice League all by itself? It's actually on video. There is a Warner Brothers executive literally calling the Snyder Cut a global phenomenon. And you don't think that they're going to follow up on that and they're going to make as much money off of that and milk that as much as they can? They got a freebie off the Snyder Cut. I mean, let's be honest. During COVID, they got a freebie off of that. They were raking in. They got HBO Max subscribers as a result of that. People were buying the physical copies, importing the physical copies from all over the world because you couldn't buy it right away as a physical copy in the United States. If you lived in the US, you had to import. I don't get it. I don't see this as being a financially viable way of going forward. Now, I do understand that a reboot makes sense down the line. Yeah. When your cast is waning and you can't get them on board, you're everything is failing. But I would argue right now that the Snyderverse characters are more popular now than they ever were. I would argue that after Zack Snyder's Justice League, they're more popular
what if it's true
now.
That Ben Affleck didn't want to come back? Like, would you want to see
that's the
Trinity without him, though?
See, and you're right. And see, there you go. That again, and this is what makes me think what Doomcock was saying was true. Because what reason would they have? And that's probably what it was with Zaslav. Like, listen, if we don't have Ben Affleck, we don't have the Trinity. So we cannot do this. We cannot keep going on with this because if we've got to recast Batman, then we might as well not do it. And that's probably where all these asinine rumors came from, where they were talking about Robert Pattinson replacing Ben Affleck as Batman in the main DCU continuity. Probably.
If you guys think you guys are mad now, just think about like if that would have happened. Like you guys would have been so pissed. Like that'd have been funny. That'd have been some funny shows too if that would have happened.
It all makes sense why The Rock never publicly acknowledged Gunn. He knew that Gunn is a piece of shit. Well, here's the thing, though, Frank. Honestly, you're right. Rock never acknowledged Gunn. Gunn never acknowledged Rock. And I find it funny because James Gunn's wife is in Black Adam. And you know what I also think is hilarious? I'm also wondering about that. Is James Gunn going to recast his Suicide Squad characters? Is he going to recast his wife? Is he going to tell his wife, this relationship was great, but I got to recast you, baby? Is that what he's going to say? Is he going to recast his wife with another actress? I want to know. I want to know what you all think. Because if you do a full-on reboot, you're not just rebooting DC. You're not just rebooting a couple of characters. You're rebooting everything. No Superman, no Batman, no Wonder Woman as we know it, but none of these other little characters should be staying either. You want to reboot, you have to reboot. You have to reboot from the top all the way to the bottom. Akate says, I will leave a thumbs up. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Sox Bulletin says, so Matt Reeves, the Batman, can stay, but Ben Affleck's Batman is done. How does that make sense? Ben is the better Batman. And that's why I say, Sox, if this report turns out to be true, that we find out later that, hey, Ben Affleck had cold feet about being Batman again and didn't want to be the DCU Batman moving forward, especially now because he's got that new production company with Matt Damon, I could totally see that being the case. That actually makes, Hollywood sense. like Johnny was pointing out here. If Ben, because again, if you don't have Ben Affleck, you don't have the Trinity. The package deal is all three of them. You got to have all three of them to make it work. You can't just have Henry. You can't just have Gal. You can't just have Ben. You got to have all three. And I think Momoa will play whoever you want him to play. You tell Momoa to play Lobo tomorrow, he's down. So Momoa is all in no matter what. I think Momoa will probably be the only actor, the only holdover that we see in the future, because he's going to be playing a completely different character. Rel McMillan says, I like Prime, but I agree with Sansa. You know what? And this is the thing. Prime has his own views of how things work, and I don't always agree with Prime, but I respect Prime. I respect Prime for coming on here this show last week and giving his take on things. But I don't, I can honestly say I don't always agree with him, but it takes a lot, to come on the show and to lay everything out in the manner in which Prime does, and you got to give him respect for that. That's really all I'll say with regards to that. I am a DC fan that wants things to be done right. How about that? Yeah, that's a good thing. We got Showcast. Prime doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't know why people take him seriously. Okay, yeah, we read that already. Will you finally admit that Sil and Mikey lied and manipulated you? Mikey takes the L, right? This is the thing. Though, and I'm gonna break this down. And you should know this, Matt, because you saw the Hollywood Reporter article yourself. You saw the Variety article. You saw all this stuff. Sil and Mikey reported that Pam Abdi, and DeLuca wanted one more go at the Snyderverse. They reported this, and this is in the article. That was the plan. When James Gunn came in, he changed the plan. So just because a plan changes doesn't make the people that told you what the plan was before it changed liars. It just means that the plan changed. So no, I don't feel manipulated by Sil and Mikey. I don't feel like I was being lied to by people who said this information prior, because it was confirmed by the trades that was the case. That if James Gunn didn't come in and change everything, that's what we would have got. We would have gotten at least one more movie with the Snyderverse cast. We would have gotten a Man of Steel 2. We would have gotten some kind of additional Justice League film. It would have happened. So I don't know what you're talking about when you say things like this about them being manipulating. I mean, I understand, you've got your personal issues with these people, but I'm talking about factual information here. I'm talking about what they were saying and what actually ended up in the Hollywood Reporter and Variety and all these places. If you look at that information, Sil and Mikey were right. They were. And now, because James Gunn decided to change things, everything is different now. And James Gunn is in control. Nobody knew what James Gunn was going to do. And Matt, if you remember, we didn't even know. Nobody knew. It blindsided everybody when James Gunn was named head of DC. Nobody expected that guy to come in and take over. I mean, I could understand James Gunn getting additional movies. I could understand James Gunn being in a creative position, but to give him the job of head of DC, that came out of left field and totally blew everybody away. So while I understand where you're coming from with your view on it, I just when it's confirmed in black and white by the trades that's exactly what the plan was prior to James Gunn coming in, I don't know what you're on about. I don't know. I have no idea. Matt, will he admit his book is a sham too? You see, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so now the positive book I'm writing about restore the Snyderverse and release the Snyder Cut, that's a sham? Why is my book a sham? How is my book a sham? Please elaborate, Cinematic, in the comments how my book is a sham, because I really want to know. I don't know. You would have to really dig deep. You have no idea how hard I'm working on this book. You have no idea what is going into this book. You have no idea the kinds of stuff I've been able to dig up for this book, or the people I was even able to get quotes from for this book. So you can call it a sham all you want. I find it hard to believe that I could be publicly speaking about a book that I'm going to make available for free worldwide a sham. But once again, see, this is the kind of stuff. See, this is what we're talking about when it comes to people coming in here without credibility. How do you come into somebody's chat attacking them and attacking what they're doing with no context whatsoever? How does that even make sense? This is why I stopped posting on social media about my book, because I got tired of people like you coming at me with no context for anything. Unbelievable. Sox Bulletin says, well, look who just walked in. All right. I'm so glad that so many of you are here supporting the chat. And speaking of supporting the chat, we got to welcome another special guest on the show for us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to welcome Bat Dan's Thoughts to tonight's episode of the ZodWriter Show to join me and Johnny and to give his take on all of this unbelievable DC craziness. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Dan. What's your take on everything?
That this is all Zaslav's fault, in my opinion. All of this falls on Zaslav. As leader, he bears the responsibility to the decisions. He approved James Gunn's stupid-ass decision. He decided that Peter Safran was so valuable that he gave into his demand that James Gunn needed to be with him, even though he was part of what made of Aquaman, not the entire reason it made $1 billion. So, yeah, I think this is and James Gunn is an idiot. James Gunn is a fucking idiot. He ruined everything. And, you know, this is kind of a repeat of what happened with the old regime. Because Black Adam was a success, but not as much as they liked. They panicked. They compared themselves to Marvel. So what they do is they try to course correct, hire a Marvel director who everything.
Yeah. Well, what's your view on the stuff I was talking about earlier about it possibly being Ben Affleck, who was having cold feet about being Batman again, and Zaslav just kind of threw his hands in the air and said, okay, well, if we don't have all three of them, we're just going to reboot. What if it, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. What if that turns out to be the case and turns out to be the reason why things turned out the way it did? How will you feel then as a fan of the current DCU?
That Henry Cavill should have still gotten his second solo movie. Plain and simple. And they could have retooled it as a send-off. Plain and simple.
I think they could have too, but I'm just saying that, the idea of if you have plans going forward and and all of your plans are getting derailed because all the pieces are not in place. It's sort of like I could see them saying, and I do agree to a certain extent that I don't think that Cavill should have been affected by this one bit. They still could have did, like you said, a Henry Cavill solo Superman movie and move forward in that direction. And that's the thing. We're just trying to speak logically here about this and have an actual discussion about it. I'm not, none of us have control over what happens. So all we can do is talk about the things that we've heard, speculate, and see and see what we all come up with. But in my mind, I would have loved to have seen Cavill get at least one more shot with Man of Steel 2.
James Gunn ruined everything, plain and simple. I'm just saying, who thinks it's a good idea to announce that someone is back that fans have been waiting for, and then 5 weeks later saying, haha, just kidding? Like, What company does that? That is like, I'm going to be honest, this is probably one of the worst business decisions in Hollywood history. Like, this is going to be something that comes to bite them in the ass. Because here's what I'm concerned about. How will other people trust to want to work with WBD again? They're like, but how can they trust that what happened to Henry won't happen to them? It's a trust thing.
Yeah, it is. It's really crazy. I think a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now, if you do a full-on reboot, and this is my only issue with the reboot at this point, aside from how I feel about them getting rid of all the people they got rid of after they met with James Gunn. Here's my problem with the reboot. If you're going to do a reboot, then get rid of these 4 other films. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, oh, we're going to reboot, and then expect people to go to the theater and watch these 4 other movies. I think Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Aquaman and the Magic Kingdom, or whatever it's called, and Blue Beetle and The Flash all need to be flushed down the toilet as tax write-offs. You want to get rid of it. You want to get rid of the baggage. You got rid of all the main players anyway. You might as well flush those movies down the toilet because those movies do not matter. It is a cul-de-sac. It's going nowhere. How about this? Get rid of those movies and don't release anything other than animation and video games until you're ready to launch your reboot. How do you guys feel about that? We'll start with you, Bat Dan. How do you feel about that, what I just said?
As painful as it is, I think that you are right. I mean, I was really looking forward to the Flash movie. I mean, I heard Ezra killed it, a lot of this cool multiverse stuff. I was looking forward to it, but I totally get what you're saying. I think here's what there is a way they could have had it both ways in a way that made sense. Just agree to finish Zach's arc. Say that, okay, we're going to reboot, but we're going to finish the story before we reboot. We're going to do the Man of Steel 2. We're going to do the Batfleck v Deathstroke. We're going to do Wonder Woman Trinity. We're going to do Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. We're going to do those movies, and then we're going to reboot. Then I would have been interested. Then the other movies would matter, because at least those movies would have been building towards the finale. And not only that, it would have given James Gunn more time to do what he wants to do. He could have been like, you know what? I have a plan. I need to do stuff with it, but I need to kind of time to map it out. Let's just finish this in the meantime. We'll take 3 years. And after that, reboot. But at least it would have had a proper closure.
Well, see, that's the thing I don't understand either. Like, they could have went with, again, what Pam Abdi and Michael DeLuca initially planned, which was to give some kind of send-off to the Snyderverse. This kind of stuff doesn't happen overnight. So I can kind of see why the idea would be to kind of finish what you started here and then move into a reboot. I totally understand that idea. And Cinematic here is saying, or Affleck signed a 3-picture deal. Okay. All right. I'm going to make it clear to everybody in the chat right now. All right. I'm not Sil Abdul. I'm not Mikey Sutton. Okay. I cannot speak for their scoops. I can't speak for what they said, what they didn't say. All I can do is give you guys the factual information, which is factually, it was confirmed by the Hollywood Reporter, by the trades, that, okay, Pam Abdi and DeLuca were planning to finish off the Snyderverse. It's in the article. They were planning to do that. That means Sil and Mikey were right. As far as the other stuff goes with Ben Affleck and the 3-picture deal and all this other stuff, we know for a fact, okay, that Ben Affleck came in and he filmed scenes for the Flash movie. We know for a fact that he came in and he did scenes for what's that other movie? Aquaman. And we know for a fact, okay, well, we know allegedly he even did scenes for Blue Beetle. Okay? So I don't know about you, but I count 3 movies. All right? I'm just going to say that's 3 movies, right? So if Ben Affleck is in all 3 of those movies, does that mean that it's a 3-picture deal? Once again, Mikey was right. So I don't really know what you're talking about when you just say these things out of context. It's cool how you guys act like you don't like Sil and Mikey. So because you don't like them, you're on a mission to prove everything that they say is wrong, regardless of when you have facts staring you in the face to the contrary. I don't know what to tell you. It's like okay. How about this? Everybody is wrong now. Everybody takes the L because nobody predicted that James Gunn was going to come in, be head of DCEU, and turn everything upside down. Nobody said that. Now, one scooper predicted that James Gunn was going to be the new head of the DCEU. And before somebody says it, I'm going to say it right now. A couple years back, we got this covered, floated the idea that James Gunn could take over as DC head. But they were speculating. They didn't know. They didn't have no confirmation. And this was years before it happened. So just before anybody says anything, well, we got this covered new, they don't have a good reputation anyway. So I don't know why you would even attribute any credit to them whatsoever, but I'm just going to say that now since there's certain people in the chat that are being petty and ignoring facts in favor of their hatred towards Sil Abdul and Mikey Sutton. And now to you, Johnny, what's your view on that?
Well, we kind of covered it already, man. Like, I'm bummed out that there's not going to be follow-up to these movies that are coming out, so there's really no point to seeing them, because most of them are sequels anyways. I think Blue Beetle's the only...
Flash is also not a sequel.
He kind of had his own whole movie in the Justice League, though, man. Like, honestly, like, he got a whole, like, hour dedicated to him. So, like, I kind of count that as a Flash movie, so... But in a way, I kind of see The Flash as a sequel because we've seen Ezra so much as him. But I do hear what you're saying. So The Flash, it's going to suck. But it is what it is now. I mean, like, all we can do is, gripe like we're doing and hope we get better. You know what I mean? Like that's
hope that the backlash causes a change.
And this is the thing. You have all of this stuff where, I mean, we're just trying to have a reasonable conversation here. I'm not personally attacking anybody. I'm not out there pointing fingers because, how many times did My Time to Shine or Grace Randolph get things wrong? How many times has Casey Walsh gotten things wrong? This is the thing. Everybody is so desperate to find L's on people that they don't like that they can't stop and see, well, gee, they actually were right about this. And just because things changed, that doesn't mean that they lied or they made it up. It just means that things changed and now the plans are different. Because I'm telling you, you find me one person out here right now talking all this crap about me writing my book, attacking Sil and Mikey, and you find me one of these people who scooped or said that James Gunn was taking over as head of DC. And then I'll admit, I'll say, okay, yeah, well then I guess, we all took an L. I just think everybody took an L on James Gunn. And I think anybody denying that right now is just delusional. Everybody took an L on James Gunn. Nobody knew what James Gunn was going to do. And anybody saying that they know, they didn't know. So what's the issue now? I mean, cinematic, are you happy? Did you get enough L's from Sil and Mikey now so that you could stop talking about it? Are you going to be talking crap about me until my book comes out and then continue to talk crap? I mean, what's it going to take to satisfy you people? That's what I want to know. When is enough enough? I did an entire stream trying to bury the hatchet and make peace with all y'all. And all I got was hatred and backlash. And I ended up almost losing several friends over that too, over all kinds of misunderstandings with regards to that stream. So all I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to give my opinion and my view on these things. I'm not trying to attack anybody. And as far as, my book goes, I'll make one more comment with regards to Pause Not Stop. I'm trying to write a positive book. I don't talk crap about anybody in my book. My book is very by the numbers factual, and as far as when I give my personal feelings in the book, I don't say anything negative about anyone. Not even Joss Whedon, all right? So please, stop with this nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
They'd have nothing better to do.
I'm not, and it's like, this is the thing. I'm not blocking you. I'm not telling you that you can't be here and you can't have a conversation, but you don't have to get personal and you don't have to attack everybody. It's not that serious. Unbelievable. And this is why I'm very, very close to deleting my Twitter account. And the day that I delete my Twitter account, I'll probably be a lot happier in life moving forward once I do that. Super Bro Corey says, I ain't never been to your Twitter. I don't know who you're talking about. Super Bro. I'm 50-50 on a DC Films reboot. Hopefully it will be great, but if it's not, boy, this is going to backfire big time. Well, it's already backfiring, though. That's the thing.
James Gunn is trending.
The amount of backlash that's going on with Fire James Gunn and all these other trends and hashtags and things like that, it is not going very well. And that should be expected. How do you get rid of your main DC actors and say you're going to reboot and expect there not to be backlash?
After announcing their return, especially.
Oh yeah. It's like WBD giveth, WBD taketh away. Merry Christmas, everybody. Right? I mean, doesn't it seem like,
Meanwhile, I hate to make this comparison, but Marvel's doing Deadpool 3 and bringing Hugh Jackman back to play Wolverine somehow in this next film, whereas DC can't make one more Henry Cavill Superman movie and make it work somehow in their DC. You guys aren't copying too good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Marvel listens to their fans.
Yeah, if there's one way that we want DC to emulate Marvel, it's that we want DC to start listening to their fans. I mean, if you really think about it, this reboot is a long way off. So far off, in fact, that they got 4 films in the pipeline that are going nowhere that they're going to release in the meantime. So if they can do all that, there's no excuse why they couldn't give Henry Cavill a Man of Steel 2. There's no excuse. There's no reason why they couldn't allow for a proper conclusion to Zack Snyder's Justice League arc. Okay, this is just me being logical. It has nothing to do with my likes or dislikes of any of it. It's just me being logical. It's me being objective. I can be objective. And I'm not going to sit here and crap all over the reboot either. I think the reboot is a horrible idea. And I don't think it's going to do well. But, I mean, do any of us here on the panel have any control whatsoever as to what the reboot is going to be? Maybe RJ, because he's got James Gunn's ear, maybe he has some idea or some semblance of what to expect from the reboot. I don't know, RJ, if you're in the chat, there's 57, 60 of you all in the chat. RJ, if you're in the chat, maybe you could share something with us about what James Gunn's been telling you. Because publicly, none of this is really looking good. I think James Gunn has got his work cut out for him. And I don't think James Gunn was hired with the knowledge and the idea that he was just going to come in and reboot DC. I believe that this happened later. This was something that was, I don't know, because it sounds like Abdi and DeLuca had other plans before James Gunn got hired. Bad of Krypton says, Zod, it's like Perlmutter, and that was for Civil War. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you very much, Bad of Krypton, for correcting me about it was Civil War, not not
Infinity War.
Infinity War. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, see, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong so that I know moving forward, so that I know. You know, I just got the two confused. Yeah, he was the producer and they got rid of him. Perlmutter. This was actually Civil War times out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're absolutely right. That's exact. But again, that's exactly who I was talking about. So thank you for correcting me. Showcase, how come they think canceling the Snyderverse is a good idea? Black Adam lost money because it was perceived as not being part of the Snyderverse by fans. That proves rebooting is a bad idea.
Yeah, but see, the studio thought that was a Snyderverse film. They figured by putting Henry Cavill in it that like they were appeasing you.
That's right, Johnny, and that's the point. Again, see, this panel's on fire tonight. Showcase, this is the problem. This is why a lot of us kept trying to tell you guys, don't boycott Black Adam, because the studio is going to treat Black Adam like it's part of the Snyderverse. And by giving you Black Adam and giving you Henry Cavill, if you don't support this movie, they're going to take it as the audience doesn't really care about the Snyderverse, that the Snyderverse is just a vocal minority. And you all prove that by boycotting Black Adam and not going and seeing the movie. I mean, and I'm not talking about you personally, Showcase.
Yeah,
I'm just making.
we know
I'm
you're
just making.
Not that kind of a
I'm
fan.
just making. You know, I'm just making a general statement with regards to some of those big Snyder accounts like RT Snyder Cut and the like. They were going around actively telling people to boycott Black Adam.
Yeah, the Black Brigade.
Right. Black Adam has to fail in order for the Snyderverse to have a chance. That's what they were telling people. These were literal tweets that they were posting. This is why I stopped following them. This is why I got blocked by about 300 of them and why I blocked about 300 of them. Because the reality is that is the wrong messaging. They brought back Zack Snyder's Superman, for Christ's sake. They brought back Henry Cavill. So you can argue about semantics all you want. Oh, he wasn't wearing the black suit. They didn't play the Hans Zimmer music. He had the spit curl in front of his face. You can argue about that all you want to, but the studio doesn't see it like that. The studio sees it as
they're olive branch to you. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
It's a really nasty, rotten olive branch, but that's what they intended it to be.
Right. They wanted you to come in and somehow make Black Adam an $800 million, an $800 million domestic smash. And if it didn't make at least $800 million, it wasn't going to be considered a success and they weren't going to continue. This is why The Rock has been so quiet. This is why you don't see The Rock posting like you do James Gunn on social media. Because as much as The Rock wants to tell you that Black Adam was a success, in the eyes of the studio, it wasn't a success. It was a success in terms of The Rock's movies and in terms of The Rock's opening prowess, because The Rock, this was his highest opening ever, but it wasn't a success by the standards of what Warner Brothers deemed a success and what they wanted. They basically took the Snyderverse and said, okay, you Snyderverse fans, you nasty, ridiculous, scumbag Snyderverse fans, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put Henry Cavill, we're going to shoehorn Henry Cavill into this Black Adam movie for 7 seconds. And if you don't come to see this movie, we're going to take that as a confirmation that the studio was right, you were wrong, and we're going to reboot the universe. And there you go. That's what you're getting. This is exactly what's happening. And I showed you guys the video last week from Sandberg about how a lot of these decisions are made with regards to what studios think. Okay? So you may think that it was just 7 seconds of Superman and it shouldn't be held against the Snyderverse fans, but that's exactly what it was. It's like in the test screening video that I posted that I showed you guys last week from Sandberg, where he said, somebody says in the test screening that they like turtles. So what do? They turn around and they throw a bunch of turtles in the movie, and then you're asking yourself a question when you see the movie: why are there so many turtles in this movie? They either the studio either gives you too much or too little, and expects you to run with either one, whichever one they decide to give you. And because they don't like the Snyderverse fandom, because they don't like us, we were lucky to get Henry Cavill. So, I hope you guys are happy, you boycotters, because I really feel like while that's not the main reason why this has happened, that was a contributor.
It's a contributing factor. Yeah, it's a factor in it.
Yeah, I hope you guys are happy.
100%.
You succeeded. You succeeded. RT Snyder Cut, they had the biggest, the best campaign that they ever had was their Boycott Black Adam campaign, because boy, did it work. We kept trying to tell you, you got to see this movie.
And these boycotters are still doubling down.
They still think they made the right decision. They still think that but then I saw a post today from RT Snyder Cut trying to be like, why don't you sell the Snyderverse to Amazon and let Amazon do Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3? Just give it up, RT Snyder Cut. It's over. Give it up. It really is time to move on. And I hate to say that, being the guy right now who's literally writing a book about release the Snyder Cut and restore the Snyderverse, but it's time to move on. Y'all just don't understand how far this has gone. We tried to tell you with Black Adam. We tried to tell you how important that movie was. But y'all stuck to your guns and stuck to your, he's wearing the wrong color. He's wearing the wrong color. He's not wearing a black suit, so we're not going to see it. Well, there you go.
Even know when the movie takes place. Just saying, it could have taken place after Zack's arc for all we knew.
Let's see. Cedric Ramos says, good evening, my great sirs. What Johnny said is spot on. People are tired of Marvel now, and DC wants to do Marvel 2.0. They are destined to fail. That's right. Nobody wants a Marvel 2.0. DC should be DC, not Marvel, not DC trying to be Marvel. Showcast says, how come they think canceling the Snyderverse is a good idea when Black Adam lost money because it was perceived as not being part? Again, yeah, I just went over this, and I think maybe you put it there twice, Showcast. We just went over this. The studio perceived it as being part of the Snyderverse. The fact that Henry Cavill was in it should have told you all that it's part of the Snyderverse. The fact that The Rock went in and removed the one shot from the Black Adam trailer that was Justice League, made sure it was removed. It was a shot of Steppenwolf from Justice League. It was removed. Why was it removed? To show you that Black Adam is part of the Snyderverse. But it didn't work. Y'all still boycotted the movie. So I don't know what to tell you.
Here's the thing, though. If it was the black suit and the Hans Zimmer music and the right hair, they still would have found a reason to boycott it. They would have said, oh, Ray Fisher's not in the movie. Zack didn't direct it. They could have added Ray Fisher. They would have found a way to boycott. They could have refilmed it all with Zack Snyder directing. They still would have found a way to boycott it.
And we've got the great and illustrious Mikey Sutton in the chat.
I'm pretty sure that's a fake one. Read what he's saying.
Mikey says, I'm sorry, everyone. I got it all wrong. Well, Mikey, you didn't get it all wrong, but that's okay. That's okay.
I don't know if that's the real Mikey. Let's see. If
usually he has a gold M when he's on here.
Yeah.
I'll know in a moment because I modded him, so I'll know if it was him. I'm just trying to find it now because there's so many people chatting tonight.
Taladia, go on the Facebook chat on the Sunday nights on Savage's Bad Facebook chat for your link.
just trying to see what the deal is here, because we got a lot of comments. I'll just keep going down the line here, but yeah, it just I feel a certain way now. I want everybody to understand that this is where we are. We've got people that really believe that this reboot is a good idea, and then you have the majority of DC fans who, even if they didn't care for Snyder's take, still enjoy these actors in the role, which is what's going to hurt DC moving forward. I don't think that they're going to be able to really move past this here.
Just because we lost doesn't mean that we have to let them win. That's the way I'm looking at this.
And James Gunn has decided to comment again. James Gunn says rebooting is the best option we had. The DCEU is a mix of mostly recognizable big characters with a couple smaller and lesser known characters getting projects spiced in. Okay, James. I mean, yeah. I get it. I mean, I get the idea of why you would do it and why it's the reboot is, you think it's the best thing. I mean, that's fine. But I mean, you do have 4 movies coming out that are not going to have anything to do with your upcoming continuity. So I don't understand why those movies haven't been scrapped yet. You want to sell me on your reboot, James Gunn? Cancel these next 4 movies and I'll be sold on your reboot. You already got rid of Superman. You got rid of Batman. You got rid of Wonder Woman. That's fine. So now get rid of these next 4 films and, hey, then that shows, that takes some balls. Get rid of these next 4 movies and it's like, okay, cool. Now we know they're serious about this reboot. They're going all in on this reboot. They know that these other movies are pointless. That's my problem. Why are you doing 4 more movies that have nothing to do with your reboot if you're so sold on the reboot? We don't need these movies then. If you couldn't give us another Superman movie because of your reboot, couldn't give us any more Zack Snyder Justice League movies because of your reboot, you couldn't do. Why the hell do we need Shazam, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, and Flash? Why do we need those? We don't. Get rid of them. Do to them what you did to Batgirl, and I'll be sold on your reboot. Telling you that right now. Show us that the reboot is that serious. Because at this point, it just feels like, to me, they just want to get rid of the big guys because they cost too much. That's what it sounds like to me. Oh, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, they're big stars now. They cost too much. We got to replace them with unknowns or lesser known people. All right. Well, get rid of these other movies. You can't have it both ways. I'm not interested in spending money on movies that aren't going anywhere. Facts, C-list, D-list characters. This guy is a walking and talking contradiction. I don't think Affleck is the reason, but I reckon he knew this is coming and he's not happy about it. I wouldn't be surprised, Koopy. Ben Affleck is a really smart guy. He's a smart creative. He's a smart actor. He probably thought about it like that too. Like, yeah, this is a mess. These people don't know what they're doing. I don't want to be Batman for the next 10 years.
I don't blame him.
I mean,
he got a meme made out of him, like one of the worst memes ever. I mean,
next 10 years, he's got to be Batman. He can't make any additional movies because he's tied up as Batman. He's got a new production company with Matt Damon right now that he's got to worry about, and he's going to be pumping out content from that. So James Gunn says, Peter Safran and I have been friends for years. Peter helped me get my start in Hollywood and recommended me the position to Zaz. Okay.
Cool. That's awesome. It's good to have friends, man.
That's not been that valuable.
That's cool, man. I mean, I'm glad friendship means so much to you. So can you answer my question now, James, that you're here? Where the hell is the Ayer cut? That's what I want to know. You're releasing 4 movies, again, upcoming, that have nothing to do with your upcoming reboot. But we can't have the freaking air cut? Why can't we have the air cut at this point? You might as well give it to us because it's not going anywhere, right? It's a cul-de-sac, just like these other movies. I don't get it. You know what? You know who I'm worried about? Somebody, if you know him, do a wellness check on Integrity 101. Because
He's still saying we're getting the Snyder Cut.
What?
Not the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder Justice League 2. He's still saying that.
We are. Because that's that stay gold pony boy stuff I love Integrity for, man. Like, don't kill his
It's
hype,
inevitable.
It's inevitable. It probably will eventually happen at some point, dude.
Right. Like this. In 2028, when James Gunn's reboot completely fails, okay, they'll have no choice before they sell DC to Disney or whoever's going to buy it.
Amazon.
Bezos.
Yeah, Bezos. I can see him on DC.
Wanting DC, and then basically they'll say, okay, Zach, come back 2028, and then Zach will figure out a way to incorporate Kingdom Come into the story and do it like that because all the actors will be much older by then. Bad of Krypton says, yeah, he was offered Superman. You're right, Zod. I remember that. Oh yeah, absolutely. Looks like Den of Nerds is right. Well, I don't know about that. I don't think that James Gunn has anything personal against Henry Cavill. James, you're in the chat. You can answer this. If you don't have anything personal against Henry Cavill, if somebody comes out and puts out a stupid tweet saying, James Gunn doesn't like Henry Cavill, James Gunn has a right to come out and debunk that and say, look, I have no problems with Henry Cavill. You're gonna move on and you're not going to use the actor in whatever slate you're doing doesn't mean that you dislike Henry Cavill as a person. Lots of
burn
actors
that bridge down,
just burn that bridge down. I never liked Henry Cavill. I never liked him as Superman. I never liked him as an actor. I saw Henry Cavill in Hellraiser Hellworld, and I realized what a horrible actor he was then, and what a wooden actor he still is, so we're not using him in anything moving forward.
Cavill was the bomb in Hellworld, yo.
Oh my God. That movie's great. That movie is great.
But yeah, no, I don't see James Gunn having. I don't think anybody has a problem with Henry Cavill. Like, I've never heard anybody ever talk shit about the guy, so I think he's really easy to get along with.
James, I'm really happy that you're here, man, and I appreciate you coming in here and giving some of your time because you're so busy as head of DC. I'm happy you're here. James Gunn says, we had a great meeting with Henry. There's no hard feelings or animosity. I hope to include Henry in a dream project myself and Peter have wanted to do for decades. So there you go. You heard it here. You heard it here from James Gunn.
Yeah,
right
we
here.
Scooped it, man. Yeah, we got the scoop from the man himself.
So there it is.
Supposedly.
We're hearing from James Gunn, probably. And this is great to have him in here. Bad of Krypton says his words were, it's not a fun playground to work in. No. James Gunn also says, we've had talks with Zack Snyder to direct Elseworld movies at DC, including this dream project of ours. Not sure if it'll ever happen, but it could down the road. Stay tuned. Well, yeah, now, because isn't Zack Snyder your friend? Nobody is saying that just because you're not doing the Snyderverse anymore that you can't have Zack Snyder direct some more movies.
And get him to direct Frank Miller's Ronin. That would be badass. I think Zack could
he
do
wants
a
to
good job
do,
with that.
and Zack has always wanted to do Dark Knight Returns. I don't know. We'll see.
He kind of already did.
He kind of already did.
It'd be nice to see him do the whole thing, though. Yeah, I guess. Like,
yeah, to see him do like a 1-for-1. You know, get Jay Oliva to do the storyboards. And what's up, Tiladia Plays? Good to see you, bro. James Gunn, I thought Zack was your friend. How come you're not sure anymore?
I don't think
James
he's saying
got
that.
back.
I've never
Got,
heard him say that he's not friends with them anymore.
yeah, I mean, that's to be fair. I've never heard James Gunn say that he's not friends with Zack Snyder. I've never heard James Gunn say that he doesn't like Henry Cavill. I've never heard James Gunn say any of these things. That's why I did a stream a long time ago pointing out to the fact that I was wrong about James Gunn. I mean, I think James Gunn has good intentions. And while I don't agree with his ideas of doing a reboot right now, I don't think it's the right time. We all know that a reboot was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, I just think that he's took on a losing battle. I almost feel bad for him. Is my position. Like, I'm actually a fan of James Gunn, but I know I'm in a way minority here.
And Al Necron wants to know, James, get back to work. You got an important job, it seems. Get busy.
That's another issue. He's on Twitter so much. I'm wondering if he's working. This is what I say about James Gunn. He belongs on Twitter as much as Ezra Miller does in Hawaii. Simple as that. Get off Twitter, dude.
And Sox is shouting out Taladia Plays. And James Gunn continues to enlighten us in the chat. I'm really happy here. James Gunn says, I love the original 1978 Superman movie. That's been our inspiration for everything we do at DC. Kevin Feige himself uses that film as the inspiration for every new MCU movie. It's the gold standard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Who
doesn't like
or something? I mean, like
who doesn't like Superman 78? And James, I did see your post not too long ago about Superman 78. I think it was like the anniversary or something. James did a tweet. Al Necron shouting out Sox, DCU more like BCU Beta Cinematic Universe. Showcast says I don't buy it, and I ain't buying no tickets to see Superman by Gunn or any other DCU movie. James Gunn is the master beta.
Now I actually encourage boycotting, to be honest. I didn't.
Now you're encouraging it.
Well, now it actually makes sense. This is the time to boycott because now they actually are not doing anything for us. So if you're not, because if you, there's like a balance, right? You don't want to just boycott, but you also don't want to give everything a free pass either. Because if you let companies do whatever, they're going to do whatever. But if you say like, hey, no, this is not the right direction, vote with your wallet, let them know that so that or companies, like what stops companies from putting out all this crap? What stops them from putting out Thor Love and Thunder, 5 Thor Love and Thunders if you're going to watch it no matter what?
Why have quality when you can keep pumping out quantity and you're still getting the quality money? That's a great point.
But DC's not really doing either, right? They're not
that's
making
right.
money with any of
That's
their
right.
movies.
That's right.
They're not really making anybody happy with them.
No. So what you got to do? So on the one hand, what you got to do is you got to get the fan base on board first. You got to do something, and I don't know how this is necessarily going to accomplish that. But I don't know. You got to be I feel like you kind of got to be crazy. You kind of got to be a madman to think that rebooting right now is the best way to go. But especially after you just had a movie come out a couple months ago that showcased Superman again. I just don't see how you do that. If you didn't just have Henry Cavill coming out in all his glory in the Superman suit. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this too, and this might come off a little bit controversial, but here it is, man. Black Adam shouldn't have come out either. If they knew that this was what they were going to do, if their whole plan was reboot, then Black Adam should have got shelved too. No way that movie should have came out. Because now, what did you do? You pissed off. Now you pissed off The Rock. I think The Rock is going to walk. I think The Rock is going to walk. I think he's going to walk too. I don't think he's going to want anything else to do with DC moving forward either.
Unless James Gunn gets fired, but
well, let's see. You're right again. Zaslav has to approve of all the facts. It's pure BS, Zod. remember him saying, I'm not interested in being president of DC Films. Yeah, there was a tweet where James Gunn actually not only said he wasn't interested in being a president of DC, but he also called out Walt, a.k.a. Walter Hamada from DC, and Kevin, a.k.a. Kevin Feige from Marvel, in the tweet. And then he's head of DC. So it says a lot. It really does, about where things are. Gal cost $20 million. Yeah. That's $20 million. That's $20 million they're saving now. Not doing Gal. Showcase, they just wasted my time and everyone else's over this. No point in investing in a dead franchise. 100%. Who's going to see these 4 films? I just want to know. I'm not going to see any of them. James, if you're still in the chat, I'm not going to see any of them. Please talk to Zaslav about making these 4 films that you're currently in the pipeline, making them tax write-offs. More money for you to invest in your reboot moving forward, because you're going to need money and you're going to need luck. I don't see how this works any other way. Marvel Maniacs poising to love DC now. Wow.
Because it's Marvel 2.0 now. That's why. Because James Gunn is a...
And we've got James Gunn once again replying in the chat. I mean, this is monumental. We should have a whole hell of a lot more than 50 people in here because we got James Gunn in the chat. This is making me think we really...
hop on the stream. Like, yo, can we send you a link, Mr. Gunn?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to come on, James Gunn, you're more than welcome to do so. If it's really you, let me know, and I'll send you a link. I'll put a link in the chat for James Gunn right now.
Yeah, we'll give you Bat Dan's hat if you come on, man. I swear to God.
I mean, this would be amazing. I would love for James Gunn to come on and speak on this. And James, you can call out anybody you want. You can come on the stream and you can call us all out if you want. We're all idiots, but just come on the stream. That's fine. James Gunn says, RJ has become a good friend and person to have conversations with as I navigate my way through DC fandom. He was one of the first to know about the new Superman plans. A good reward for his passion. Okay.
Ooh.
There's nothing
spicy.
There's nothing
passion.
There's nothing wrong with, that with James Gunn making a new friend. Okay. I mean, whatever. That's cool. That's cool, guy. But again, if you want to come on the stream, let me know. I'll post the link for you. You can come on for sure. Okay, yeah, this is how far behind I am in the chat. Wow. I'm over an hour behind. So I'm going to try to skip down here, see where we are. They won't do that because they want a interconnected DCU games, animation, movies, shows, and everything. Yeah. And James Gunn... I just find it interesting that Gunn had no interest in writing a Superman movie when doing the Suicide Squad. Yeah, he didn't. James, what changed? You're in the chat. What changed with Superman? What made you want to take on a Superman movie?
Oh, Saggy, we know, homie. Like we're playing along is all. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean we're doing our thing here and going along with James Gunn in the chat. That's fine.
Wait, that's not the real James Gunn? That's what you're telling us?
No, you get to keep your hat, Bat Dan. You get to keep your hat. Don't worry about it.
It's the real James Gunn. It's cool. I'll be a believer for this show. No problem. Teladia Play says RJ deleted his old channel. Okay. Beta Justice, Marvel Beta, whatever his name is, will soon regret this. Okay. Prayers for Davilia Sinistra. Yep. Yes, exactly.
Hope she's doing better, man. Car wrecks suck.
Car wrecks. Yeah, that's horrible. Too incriminating. This has been a total disaster. Den of Nerds 2. Just shows that Gunn listens to Marvel fans, but not DC fans. Well, if he listened to Marvel, he would be doing things differently for DC because Marvel gives their fans what they want. So I don't know. I don't know how that's a good example, but You do. I didn't notice. Since you were in RJ's DMs. Nah, Grace knew nothing. Cavill was back, and he announced his return before all this calamity started. Yeah, to see that, and that's the point I was trying to make earlier. That Grace didn't know anything. She was just saying this because of her issues with Henry Cavill. So guessing something and knowing something are two different things.
Shot in the dark. That was a real shot in the dark.
Okay.
Well, they didn't particularly treat Henry Cavill very nice either. I could understand him not wanting to come back, either.
Well,
so
yeah, I don't. I doubt he will. I mean, what company tells you to announce that you're back and then publicly announce that you're back and then decides like not that much longer or not that much later to get rid of you like that? Like even if let's just pretend for a moment that James Gunn got fired tomorrow. Let's just say that happened. Would Henry Cavill want to come back as Superman if, let's say, like, if Zaslav, like, got on his knees and begged Henry Cavill to come back? Like, I don't see him coming. I don't know if he'd come back at that point. I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's...
Yeah. Yep. Giving the Snyderverse one more makes sense. That gives Aquaman that gives Aquaman 2 and maybe the Flash a chance to make money and give the cast a proper goodbye. Yeah, but I don't want to see I don't want to see the Flash or Aquaman 2 at this point because there's no reason. Those movies are I feel like we got our send off. As funny as this sounds, we got our send-off with Henry Cavill at the end of Black Adam, and people just don't realize it. They showed Superman in all his glory. He came out. He confronted Black Adam. And now, as far as I'm concerned, they want to reboot. Okay. Now you reboot, and now you start again, but you don't release 4 more films. That's my big bone of contention with this. If you can release 4 more films, you can give Zack Snyder 1 more film to finish his arc. You can finally release the Ayer cut if you're going to give us 4 more films. This 4 more films baloney is where I struggle with the whole reasoning behind this reboot. Because 4 films is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of films.
Shazam and Blue Beetle, I can see them putting that on streaming. Like those could totally be like HBO Max originals, and like I could see like those being released like that. But the other two, the big two, like they're tentpole. You know what I mean? Like it just will build you up to just kick you in the chest because I don't see how Aquaman 2 is going to be the perfect place to hang your hat on this version of the Justice League.
To be fair, the Flash might be a good film to send off on it. Based on what Sill's saying, it actually might be a reboot film. Like it might be the film that starts the reboot.
That's interesting. Yeah, because everybody's been talking about a Flashpoint movie since the first hint of the first reboot. I think back in 2017 when they first started talking about this shit.
RJ, I hate to say this, and I'm going to read your comment here, but I'm going to respond right now, and you might not like what I say next. Might be getting a tour of new DC studio offices soon. Thanks, James. Hope you all enjoy the future of DC. It's going to be amazing. And remember, Mikey and Sil lied to you all from the beginning. It's funny that you say that Mikey and Sil lied, RJ, because on Twitter, Sil posted about the old plans for DC and something with James Gunn, and James Gunn liked the tweet. Okay, so if Sil and Mikey are complete liars, why would James Gunn like Sil Abdul's tweet? He liked the tweet. So James Gunn is liking tweets from known liars now. That's something that that I think you're really missing. And you know what, RJ, to be honest with you, I hope you get your tour of DC Studios because shilling that hard, you deserve it. If you're really up in James Gunn's DMs and you have that kind of relationship now, I hope that you get a tour of DC Studios. I'm happy for you, man, and that's no shade coming from me. I'm happy for you if you get that. It's nice to see a fellow nerd get acknowledged by somebody like that.
Tag us in some selfies when you're there, bro. We'd love to see them.
Yeah, dude, it's great. Like I said, nothing personal here, RJ. Listen, man, you can, that's great. To have James Gunn's ear like that, that's really cool. But man, you're missing out. You're missing that one point that James Gunn did like a tweet that Sil put out. All right. And if Sil and Mikey were lying about everything, I don't think James Gunn would be liking their tweets. Just saying. Let's see.
Agenda.
Yeah. Well, RJ probably didn't know about that, Dan. Let's see.
That guy threatening to swat you? Kind of sounds.
Yeah,
like
that's when I banned him. I banned Cinematic after that because that was too far. I threatened to kill or joked about killing. That's not okay.
Yeah,
man. We're talking about Superman movies,
yeah, we're talking about movies, and
sad, bro.
And you're threatening violence and doxing people's locations. That's what you guys do now? Wow. Okay.
Illinois is a big state. I mean, I live in Illinois too. Heck, I live in Arlington Heights. So dox myself. There you go.
I live in Homewood. There, now you know. Dan lives in Arlington Heights. I love Arlington Heights, by the way. I used to go to Johan Plaza in Arlington Heights to buy all my Japanese anime and anime soundtracks back in the day. Unbelievable that it gets to that. See, Cinematic, this is what happens. We're trying to have a discussion and you want to dox people. Unbelievable. Bad of Krypton says he won't recast them, ZodWriter. This Gunn guy won't recast his wife or Margot, or I'd have more respect for him in the DCU if he got rid of everyone. Yeah, well, that's another thing with the reboot. The two, like I said, Bad of Krypton, my two main issues with this whole reboot are, one, you have 4 more movies coming out that have nothing to do with your reboot that you could easily get rid of. Secondly, if you're not recasting everybody, then it's not a full-on reboot. You're just trying to cut cost. That's what this is about. This is not about the integrity of DC. This is not about protecting the brand. This is not about building a cohesive DC. This is about saving some money and rebooting the universe and doing whatever the hell you want with it. And that's not really going to be good for everybody, because based off of the backlash you're getting from Cavill, I suspect it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, James Gunn's he's going to regret this soon, and so will Zaslav. That's because the thing is, unfortunately, even if Zaslav fixes this, the damage to the brand's already done. The brand is now under WBD, is associated with that mistake. They're going to regret this. They are.
WBD needing money. If Amazon or Netflix is willing to continue the Snyderverse movies, let them. It's a win for WBD fans and Amazon or Netflix. They're not going to do that. And I'm going to tell you why, Cyber Soldier. Here's why they would never do that. Because number one, contracts, and number two, it would make them look bad. They'll turn around, sell the Snyderverse. It'll be gangbusters. It'll be bigger than anything that James Gunn is planning on doing with this reboot. And it'll just make them all look bad, and they'll all have egg on their face. I mean, do I have to remind you of how mad Zaslav was about Sandman on Netflix?
He should be, man. Like, that's one of their best properties. Like, that's a Pulitzer Prize winning graphic novel series that DC should be milking for all the money that it's worth, and they're letting Netflix have it.
And that's exactly what would happen,
to be
but just
pissed
on a
off
bigger
about.
but that's just a minor example of what it would be on a larger scale. You put the Snyderverse on Netflix or Amazon, you're going to have some big competition. And when Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon comes out, it's going to blow everything away.
That will make both Disney and Warner Brothers look bad.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's going to make Warner Brothers look bad for treating Zack so bad and putting him in this position, and it's going to make Disney look bad for rejecting Rebel Moon as a Star Wars movie.
I mean, it'll probably be better not under Disney because he can actually make it rated R, because I don't think a Star Wars movie under Disney could be rated R. I don't believe that. He's just saying that to save face.
See, and this is another thing too, and because Ben Affleck is a director now, and well, he's been a director, but he's got this new production company with Matt Damon, and maybe they could work out some kind of a deal with Ben Affleck's production company, and he could direct a DC movie in the future. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
That'd be cool. I mean,
but I also can kind of, again, this is going back to what Doomcock said earlier about Ben Affleck, not wanting to be Batman in the foreseeable future or wanting to step away from the role again. Think of how busy Ben Affleck is going to be with his new production company. You really think Ben Affleck wants to be worried about being Batman for year after year after year after year
and having to get that jacked again? I mean, like, he's old. You know how hard it is to work out when you're like in your 50s. I mean, and to get as ripped as he was for Batman again at his age, that ain't going to be fun for an old dude like him.
It's kind of like at this point where we are right now. It's like you have to look at life and have to look at it from that perspective that Johnny just gave here. I want to see Ben Affleck come back for at least one or two more movies too, but if Ben Affleck isn't really sold on it, or he's dicey on it, or he doesn't really, or he's flaking out on it for whatever reason, you got to respect Ben Affleck for that. And if that's the case, I kind of, I can kind of understand. And I don't know. And there was just something about the report that sounded credible to me. Call me crazy, but it just sounded realistic to me.
It sounds believable. Yeah, it sounds.
Yeah, because there was nothing funny in it. It wasn't like Doomcock was making a joke out of it or anything. It legitimately sounded like an actual scoop of some type. So I don't know if it's true, but I'm just saying that that for them to go from James Gunn posting pictures of Lobo and all these, C and D list characters, to go from, I've been writing a Superman movie for a while now, and now there's all this talk about James Gunn's Superman being his legacy or whatever. This just came out of left field. It came out of nowhere. Like, really? Like, you never were had any interest in Superman before. Oh, Cisco, that sneaky SOB. Gunn and Safran used financial deductive reasoning to sway Zaslav on his reboot. Yeah, again, because you are going to save quite a bit of money by doing this reboot.
Problem is, saving money doesn't always end up making you the most money. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money, and it's like, okay, so like, let's say when you go take your car to a repair shop, you may think that, skipping on certain repairs will save you money, but then your car breaks down later on, and you're going to be like, man, I wish I paid it I wish I just took the repair when I had the chance, because now waiting costs you more money. And that's basically what I think is happening with what Zaslav did. He saved money in the short run, but now these other movies aren't going to make as big of a profit, and he'll make less money than if he had just, paid Henry Cavill, paid Gal Gadot, paid Ben Affleck. And here's the thing. You didn't need to commit to the team-up films right away. You could have just given the individual films, see how those did at a lower budget. And
James Gunn is saying that Mikey Sutton doesn't know crap, has the crap emoji there.
The Patrick Stewart emoji, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Affleck returned, but he clearly wasn't getting the Batman contract he wanted, so he moved on with his production company. Well, yeah, and apparently they took the stuff that he filmed for the Aquaman 2. They took Ben Affleck's stuff out of that, supposedly. So I don't so that kind of lines up with what Doomcock was saying earlier. I don't know. I just find it complete. It's all wild to me. But
yeah, I'm not saying like I'm 100% into it, but it sounds very plausible. Like
right.
It's a really reasonable explanation.
You got to use common sense when it comes to this stuff. But I still don't. But I'm with Bat Dan on this. I still don't know how you take. You cancel out Henry Cavill's solo Superman movie when you know you need money. And if you make that Henry Cavill Superman movie, that's going to make that. Let me tell you the truth. That Henry Cavill Superman movie, it stands to reason, is going to make more money. Well, would have made more money than Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, The Flash, and Blue Beetle combined.
And they wouldn't have to do much for it. They just have to play the John Williams score in the trailer, and motherfuckers would be there to see it.
No. Remember the John Williams score is the bad score?
I'm talking about getting general audience idiots to go see it, man, not really the fandom.
Yeah, because the fandom didn't show up for Black Adam, so it's not for them. It's just general audiences. If you look at general audiences and you look at Superman as the iconic character that he is, general audiences, all right, are going to flock to another solo Superman movie. They're dying for it as much as we are, but for different reasons.
They don't even have to play the whole song. They just have to do the da 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 some part in the trailer, and like that's all people would need to get a boner for it. General audience people.
Yeah. Again, the people that would make that movie $1 billion.
Spend money to make money, but see, I think James Gunn knows that. James Gunn knows that, but the thing is, he wouldn't get as much credit for it. That's the thing. He wants this to be his legacy. It's his ego. That's the reality. Because if he wasn't doing this for his ego, he would finish the Snyderverse because that would make the money. I mean, again, I'm still taking what the Doomcock said with Ben Affleck with a grain of salt a little bit, especially because I do feel, in my opinion, at the very least, Ben Affleck would have come back to finish Zach's arc. I think that was the one thing that Ben Affleck would have been willing to do, especially if that was the goodbye film.
No matter what, he would have did it. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And this is why I'm saying, why are they giving us these 4 movies when they could make more money than they ever heard of if they just do a solo Superman movie and let Zack Snyder finish off his arc?
Yeah.
You don't need to make these other movies that are going nowhere that nobody's asking for. The thing is
they're gonna have to wait a while for Zach to get done being busy, though. Like he's finishing up film. He's still doing promotion for it. It's gonna be probably 2 years before he could probably get to work on his Justice League film. They're trying to get a slate put together right now, so waiting on him to finish his arc, like we're literally looking at, I don't know, like 5-10 more years before we get closure on some of this stuff. A reboot makes a little bit of sense, but especially if you're talking about waiting for Zach to come back and finish, because the man is inheritably busy right now. I mean, he's inherited a whole new.
Yeah, he's done. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that people don't realize, though. Zach is done with Rebel Moon. He finished principal photography on Rebel Moon. God, what was it? A couple months ago. He's done with that, and his contract with Netflix expires on July 21st of next year. So in theory, he could come back and do something. And that's the thing I don't get. Like, if they really wanted him, if they had conversations with him, they could make it happen. But instead, they're saying, oh no, we're going to do this instead. We're going to do this, this, and this. You don't think Zach would make completing his Justice League arc a priority if he was asked to come back?
Oh, he would.
That's why I don't think I really don't think that they've reached out to him at all. I don't think that they have. I think I think Zach was telling the truth when he said he never got a call from them, because they're not thinking about him. They're thinking about James Gunn's reboot, and they just want to get these other movies out because they're ready to go, and they just want to push them out, like Johnny said, and try to get as much as they can off of them. But I don't think they're going to get, they're not going to get anything. I'm not going to see any of them out of protest. I don't care how interested I was in The Flash. Out of all 4 of them, the only one I was primarily interested in is The Flash, and now I'm not even interested in The Flash anymore. I don't even care.
And you know me, I've been like, through everything, I've been really supporting Ezra. I mean, I've been kind of in Ezra Miller's corner somewhat, not necessarily excusing everything, but not believing everything either. Like, I've been very, kind of pro Ezra. So, like, it kind of kills me to not see the Flash movie. I haven't made my decision on the Flash movie yet. I'm still going back and forth on that one, but...
Well, I mean, there's nothing to really think about until we even see a trailer. There's nothing besides some still shots to see from it, so...
Yeah, I mean, but we don't know. I mean, again, we don't know what's going to really happen. I mean, the thing is, this whole thing is so fluid right now. The Flash movie comes out in June, and Fire James Gunn is trending. For all we know, by June, I mean, the Flash movie has gone from a reboot to not a reboot to a reboot again. Who knows if it's still a reboot? Who knows if David Zaslav says, okay, this clearly is not good for the brand. Gunn, you're out of here. And they wouldn't necessarily need... I'm not saying they would get Snyder and Cavill back right away, but they wouldn't necessarily need to reboot right away either. So, point is...
James Gunn says the slate is done and ready to go. I have time to kill. That seems very obvious.
Yeah, you got a lot done in a month there, buddy. Like, that's
plus he has to promote Marvel too.
He's contractually obligated to do that, man. Like, it's his film. He's got to promote it.
I'm not shaming him for that. I'm saying he's busier because he has to do Marvel and DC. That's the point I'm making. Is that you have to promote Marvel, you have to do the DC slate. How do you have time to be on Twitter?
All right, and James Gunn is replying here. WBPR is already shutting down toxic channels and Twitter accounts. The end of your negative activity is coming soon. And be better or be gone. Skywalker is up next. Look, James, I'm trying to be objective here, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm not attacking anyone. Okay, I'm just giving my opinions with my buddies Johnny and Dan here. So I don't know what you're talking about shutting down people's channels. I can't speak for other people. I can only speak for me. So please, calm down. It's not that
ain't nobody been toxic tonight. I mean, tonight. Like, this channel can get there, but ain't nobody been toxic tonight. So I don't even know what you're talking about there. Fake James Gunn.
James Gunn's been toxic. I mean, the real James Gunn has been very toxic on Twitter. Have you seen some of the stupid shit that he's right? Why isn't WBPR after him?
Okay, we got Caden Reed here. Caden, I didn't know you read my book. Have you read my book? Have you read it? Because nobody has. The book isn't done. All right, I literally have 6 chapters of the book done. Actually 7, because I just finished a chapter yesterday on guess who my 7th chapter was about. Oh, it was about James Gunn. Yeah, I have a chapter in the book dedicated to James Gunn. But Caden, you didn't read my book, so you don't know who I got quotes from. You don't know what's in the book. So how can you make that statement? Your book is full of fake quotes. Why are you saying that? You don't know because you haven't read the book. That's like the stupidest thing I've ever heard anybody to say. You're coming on here telling me that my book is full of fake quotes when you haven't read the book. You really are dumb, dude. Like, I thought you were dumb before, like when you came on that stream where I tried to make peace with everybody and you were like, what's your problem with James Gunn, man? I thought you were a bit dumb then, but I really think you're dumb now. I really feel like I overestimated or underestimated how dumb you are coming on my stream telling me that my book that hasn't even been released yet or it isn't even close to being done yet is full of fake quotes. You know what? you know what? I love your comments so much that I think I'm gonna highlight it. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna pin it and make it the quote of the show, because I've never seen anything like this. You're coming into my stream telling me that my book is full of fake quotes when you haven't even read my book. Listen, man, I'm sorry about getting like this about my book, but you people are really something else. You already stopped me from posting about my book on social media because y'all have been so negative and nasty. And now you're coming in my chat telling me I can't find I can't find the comment in the live chat. The live chat is so far ahead of where I am that I can't even find it to pin it.
I think your mods booted him a little after this, man.
Yeah, maybe they did. I don't know. Let's see. Let me get rid of them here. All right. Yeah, you're out of here. You're out of here. I don't need that kind of negativity and aggravation in my life. I'm over here trying to write a positive book, and I got clowns with Scooby-Doo avatars. This is a guy that Sil Abdul named, by the way, Scooby. I got Scooby-Doo coming up in here telling me that my book is full of fake quotes when he hasn't read the book. He hasn't seen the book. Full of fake quotes. Okay. All right, dude. All right. I mean, and you're out of here, and you're out of here too. You're out of here too, Cinematic, because you were trying to dox people, so you're out of here too.
He should already be out of here. I hit him, but maybe someone unhit him.
And how many accounts do you have, Caden Reed? Jesus, I blocked two of them already, and you guys are like locusts.
You guys are like Movie World, man.
What the hell, man?
That's like old school reference right there.
You know, mods, definitely, handle your business, because I don't know what the hell's going on here with these people. What's up, Tim Talk? Good to see you, man. Unbelievable, man. Okay, let's see. James Gunn has this to say at El Necron. The cool table has been attacking others for too long. Social media companies aren't putting up with this anymore. The time is up. Be better or be gone. Okay, yeah, James Gunn.
What's going to happen? Like, if they're monetized, maybe they'll get demonetized at worst. But like, they're getting somebody kicked off of YouTube is really, really hard. Ask people that have gone after Onision for like over a decade. All right, like, you can't get people kicked off of YouTube no matter how bad they are. And like, nobody on the cool table is anywhere near as bad as the person I just mentioned. I'm not trying to make that equivalence at all. I was just making an example of how hard it is to get rid of people on this platform.
And Victor Edward Lease has been listening. It doesn't matter who was right or wrong regarding scoops. None of the fans have control of these movies and actors. The best course of action is not to listen to any scoops.
Then don't. Simple as that. Don't listen to scoops.
That's good advice. Right. That's the thing I don't understand. I don't understand why people like Caden Reed and RJ and all these people make this whole scoop thing a vendetta. I don't understand why. So everybody associated with Sil and Mikey has to eat shit because you guys don't like them. I don't understand that. I'll never understand that. Sil and Mikey are two of the kindest people that I've met. I've met online. They're real kind people. They're good people. Just because you guys have personal issues because you don't like their scoops or you don't like what they say online, who cares? You don't have to listen to them. But not everybody, just because they're friends with them, not everybody deserves to get your wrath or your crap. I don't know what I did. I'm trying to write a positive book, and you guys come at me nonstop over stuff, accuse me of being a liar, attacking me. Everything about my book is fake because you don't like my association with Sil and Mikey. I got news for you. Sil and Mikey aren't helping me with my book. All the research and all the stuff that I'm doing on my book, I'm doing on my own. It's consuming a great deal of my time. I just shaved yesterday because I got tired of looking like the Wolfman. I had, so much white in my beard. I was starting to look like Gandalf the Great from Lord of the Rings.
Another thing you guys should know is Zod's for real with this the Snyder cut. He was like the first person I ever knew that was into it. Like he was talking about that the day that the Justice League came out. He was already like, we know that there's another cut of this movie out there. And he was one of the people that I knew that was defending BVS on Facebook, and like, believe it or not, like he got so much hate for that back in the day, man. That was not a popular opinion to have on Facebook at that time.
I remember that too.
Yeah, and like, dude, like I've known Zod since what, 2010, something like that.
Yeah.
And he literally was my introduction into like the whole view of the Snyder cut, and he's been through every big procession. He's been part of every big movement in the movement. He's been critical to the whole thing. So to act like he doesn't have a valued opinion, or he's going to be writing some kind of spurious book on a subject that he's invested how many years now, Zod? 5, 6?
Yeah, like 5, 6 years at this point.
And he's going to write some spurious tale about something that he's been personally invested in for better part of a decade now. You guys are just assholes, man. I literally think that, in my opinion. I mean, but whatever.
Yeah, they're coming on here. And it's so funny. They come here, they come to my streams to attack me, and they come into my Twitter threads to attack me, but then they all have me blocked. So I can't see anything that they say and can't reply to anything. But they retweet me and constantly use my name and constantly talk about me. Listen, it's fine. You guys are in love with me. I live rent-free in all your heads because you guys are constantly bringing me up. I don't come to you. I don't care. Okay? But like, for example, Caden Reed, who I don't have anything to do with this dude. I've never had any conversation one way or the other with Caden Reed. But Caden Reed has always had a problem with me.
He's right? Got like either like a serial killer or a wrestler's name too. Like, I'd be...
I don't get that. I don't get these people. I don't get it, man. Like, whatever. Like, I feel like this. How about this, guys? At least do me this favor. When the book, wait for the book to come out before you crap all over it. At least let it come out first and read it and get some context before you crap all over it. Because there's one thing that I can tell you right now, and I'm going to respond to you, Caden Reed. One thing I can tell you right now is that there's not going to be any fake quotes in the book. You best believe and you rest assured every single quote that I have in the book that's going to be in the book from anybody is going to be double and triple verified before it goes to print. Because I'll tell you right now, if I find out that any quotes that I got in the book are false, or I'm even a little bit unsure of any of some of these quotes, they won't be in the book. So you don't have to worry about my book being full of fake quotes because everything is going to be verified. And guess what? The book is going to be, vetted properly by an editor, a lawyer, publisher, all this stuff. You guys have no idea how far this goes. You guys have no idea the time, effort, energy, and stuff that I've been putting into this thing. And there were times I was like, man, I got to stop promoting the book on social media because, I'm getting attacked left and right just because you don't like me. You don't like me because you don't like Sil and Mikey. I don't get it.
Yeah, they ain't on this show.
I get that. I get that Matt Jarbo has an issue with Mikey Sutton because Matt Jarbo and Mikey Sutton used to be friends. But what does that have to do with the rest of us? What does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with Johnny? What does that have to do with Dan? What does that have to do with Sil? I don't get it. I don't understand the mentality that a lot of you people have. It really is like high school back in the day where people had cliques that they hung out with. And if you weren't friends with this particular clique, these cliques over here shat all over. And that's what it was. It was just a back and forth. Oh, Don't talk to him. He sits at the nerd table. Don't talk to him. He's part of the D&D group. Don't talk to him. He's part of the chess club. Don't talk to him. He's just a dumb jock. That's what it was. And that's exactly what it's like now. And y'all are grown people. Y'all are adults. And this is what you do.
Physically, at least.
So James Gunn is over here talking about telling everybody, telling everybody, be better. Yeah, James, be better. You're an executive. You're the head of DC, right? You be better. And if you really do have RJ in your DMs, I feel bad for you. Boy, it's ridiculous.
Talk about fake quotes, like
fake
RJ
quotes.
being in fucking James Gunn's DMs is like the fakest quote I heard, but whatever. That's just me.
I have to get going soon. I need to catch up from my hour of my 1 hour of sleep from last night.
That's fine, Bat Dan. I'm glad that you could come. Thank you for being here, man. We're gonna go. Johnny and I. We're gonna go through the rest of the comments for the show, and then Johnny and I are gonna kind of switch gears and give some of our views on what are some of the best holiday movies to watch during this time of year. So we got that coming up, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna transition away from DC in a little bit, but I definitely want to get through the rest of these comments, and we're gonna stay here with you guys. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying your time and are being entertained by all of the great stuff in the chat. James Gunn, Caden Reed, RJ, Matt Jarbo. We've had them all. Everybody, all the characters, all the clowns, the whole circus has been here today. So, y'all should just be enjoying yourself.
Wait, Monday Matt came by too? Wow.
He was here too. But all right, Bat Dan. We'll catch you later, man.
Catch you later.
It's good to see you, bro. Have a good one.
Get some rest.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah, don't take Bezos' shit, man.
Let's see. James Gunn says, Necron, let Skywalker know tonight may be his last stream. Wow, James Gunn is really laying down the gauntlet, but there you go. They need to look relevant. They're not even close to it. Well, okay, let's see. Yeah, you've already been booted. You've already been booted, so I have no idea why you keep popping up in the chat. Like I booted you already. I don't know what kind of internet y'all have. You just have endless accounts, I guess. I don't know. I think maybe I got to come out and come back in. I'll be right back.
All right. Cool beans.
All right, I'm back. So now maybe all the crazy people that were creating all the issues are gone now because I did some stuff. You still here, Johnny?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's see. Cisco says Den of Nerds did receive some legit info though. James Gunn says, hey Zach, hope things are well for you. We've got Zack Snyder here in the chat too. That's pretty cool. All right.
Yeah, man.
Zack Snyder can't wait for Rebel Moon and for Army of the Dead. I concur. Can't wait for you for that, Zach. I'm looking forward to whatever you got coming out. We got Showcase, no more Deathstroke either. Jade is in the chat. What's up, Jade? Good to see you. They will come begging Zach. Watch. They won't survive. Cisco Gunn going to make Green Lantern films like his Guardians of the Galaxy films. Predictable. Strong Arm Flicks, ZodWriter cracking me up, responding to James Gunn. Absolutely strong arm. I got to
What's
respond.
What's up, T-Fire? Why aren't you up in here, man?
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen. I sent him the link. I don't know. I know you guys probably commented earlier, but I was way behind on the chat, as you could see, because when I came out and came back in, I'm still almost an hour behind on the chats. Hugo Allen Stevens, what's up, man? Says rebooting the DC movie slate works all the more in Gunn's personal heat with Jared Leto because now there's no because now there's no guarantee of Jared's Joker ever being seen again on screen with Gunn calling the shots. Okay.
There's always Mobius for Leto.
Yeah, the Morbius sequel. Yeah, Lord, I'm watching 2 live streams now. Zod and Skies. Well, see, here's the thing. That's another thing, man. I'm just gonna say this right now because this kind of bothers me. I don't like to have cross streams, and I try to go out of my way not to cross over with other Sill Nation streams, Cool Table, Mikey Verse, that kind of thing. I'm trying not to do that, and it always ends up that way, and I feel bad about that. I'm because I still I'm still trying to get through my stream, but yet there's another stream going on right now. Okay, well maybe James Gunn will go over to that stream then because it seems like he's a little more mad at Skywalker.
I don't know. As scary as he sounded, maybe Skywalker's not having a stream tonight anymore. Maybe it's been shut down by the mysterious YouTube police.
Grace didn't like Cavill. Okay. They should merge together. Zack Snyder says Henry is my Superman. Hey, Zach, you're our Superman, Zach. All right. You're my Superman, Zach. They put it to you that way. You are the best there is. James Gunn says, strong arm flicks. I enjoyed your stream from the other day, sir. Wow. So strong arm. James Gunn likes your stuff.
Yeah, you big pimping in James Gunn eyes, man.
Zack Snyder says our Superman. Oh, isn't that nice? Zack Snyder, close second to Christopher Reeves, but you've heard that before. All right, Adega. And Cisco says Gunn saying without saying Cavill back as older soups in Dream Project Kingdom Come and hope to get Snyder to direct in 7 years. Yeah, that's a possible thing, And James Gunn's responding to Batdan. Batdan left. This is how you know I'm behind. James Gunn says, I promise you I'm working, Batdan. I'm on breaks and interact with fans to be better at communicating with everyone. I will be slowing down Twitter activity soon, though. See, now this actually sounds like a legit James Gunn response. Oh no, Johnny. I gotta wonder. Just saying. It's pretty fascinating. Douglas Murphy, and that's the problem. Not every character is Superman and shouldn't be treated as such. Yeah, I can tell there's another Sill Nation stream going on right now because we're losing viewers. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta go. Salute to you, ZodWriter, Batdan, Johnny, and all the chat. Thanks for stopping by, Koopy Malik.
And it's always good to see you, Koopy.
Mind when Superman Returns tried to continue Donnerverse and failed. Yeah. Integrity 101. This was the guy I was worried about. I'm glad to see you in the chat, man. No one loves Donner Superman as much as me. I spent a ton of time making a 4-hour edit and everything. That being said, the producers need to shut the F up about Donner Superman. Now is Cavill's time. Well, was. James Gunn, you looking forward to recasting Joker for the new universe? I will bet. Douglas Murphy, if anything, DC is going to be Richard Donner Superman. I'm definitely clocking out. It's not 1978 anymore. Saggy Mellon says that's not James Gunn, for the love of God. Can y'all be real friends to Zod and stop letting him embarrass himself thinking that it's actually James Gunn? I don't think that it's actually James Gunn, Saggy. What I'm doing is I'm responding to it as though it's James Gunn because it's entertaining. It's entertaining to me and it's entertaining to the people in the chat. That's all. I don't, it's, oh goodness. Unbelievable. Can't freaking believe it, man. Yeah. See, now I know where all my viewers went. Saggy Melons. And that's the real Saggy Melons. I know this is the real Saggy Melons because you're modded on my channel and you're still modded. Okay. So I'm glad you're here. I literally checked the account. This is not James Gunn. Y'all really need to put down the tinfoil hats. Didn't sound like y'all were playing. Well, it wasn't supposed to sound like we were playing. It was supposed to sound real because it's entertaining. Zod, the next 2 Avengers movies are going to destroy Gunn's DCU. And Zeno
probably.
Zeno says they know he's not the real James Gunn. Yeah, of course. That was already explained. You are late. Also, hi, Zeno. Hey, Zod, want to get back and address that comment about RJ being a pedo because he supports James Gunn. I never said that,
Yeah,
Saggy.
nobody said that. Like, where did that even come from?
There's other people. There may be people in the chat saying that, and I'm trying not to highlight comments where those kinds of things are being said. I didn't say that, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, saying shit like that ain't cool.
Again, I'm not, hey, I can only speak for myself. If people are saying that's on them. I'm not saying that, Saggy. I mean, what? I mean, Johnny, did you and I say anything like? If anything, we've been responding to this fake James Gunn the whole night. None of us, neither of us have said anything about any pedos. I don't know what people are talking about. Oh my God!
Yeah, I think, and we brought up RJ once. You kind of addressed his tweet about having a show around the DC parking lot or whatever, but like I don't remember anything about pedos being brought up then. Like you shouldn't really talk about stuff like that on there, in my opinion. But like it's just asking for bad news.
I don't get it. I know there was an argument going on between the fake James Gunn and a few people. I don't know if that's still going on. I don't know. I guess they were right about Zaslav is a cheapskate. Yeah. We got Super Mega Graphic 64, aka Cyrus, in the chat. What's up, Cyrus? Hey, Zod, I just wanted to stop by and say how much I enjoy your content and channel. Can't believe this Cavill stuff. Anyway, awesome show, man. Hope we can hang out soon. Yeah, you'll be seeing me, man. I'm gonna be popping up on your video game live stream soon. Because Johnny and I usually do this show on Wednesday, but because of another live stream yesterday, I didn't get a chance to go live because Sil was doing a state of the fandom, and I didn't want to cross over with that. And now Skywalker's doing his stream right now. See, and what irritates me about this is not because we're going at the same time, but because I actually like to watch Skywalker streams. I'm a fan of Skywalker. Skywalker's a friend of mine. So when he goes live, I want to be able to be there in the chat, and I want to be able to be a part of his streams. But I can't do that if I'm streaming myself. But it is what it is. What are you going to do? I try. I try to plan all my stuff ahead of time and let people know what time my stuff is going to start. Like I said, I would have did this yesterday, but because of the Cavill news and then the Sil Nation, it's hard, man. It's hard to do it because you always want to support your friends. Henry Cavill is in the Warhammer series. Yeah, that's what I was seeing. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 is inevitable. I'll take your word for it, Integrity. Zod is way behind in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. Zod, I wanted a Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill, Superman, Sasha, Kaye, Supergirl against Brainiac with Snyder directing. It would have been amazing. Yeah. Will the book be available on Amazon? I'd love to see it when it comes out. Bat of Krypton, the book will be available on Amazon as of right now. the plan is to self-publish it on Amazon and make it available worldwide for everybody for free. The only time there'll be any monetary stuff associated with the book is if it goes to physical print and I do a small hardcover run. Then I'm donating all the proceeds to AFSP if that happens. But initially, the book will be available for free.
If you could do an audio book for it, who would you get to narrate it?
I'm going to read it myself. I'm going to do the audio.
You wouldn't like hire Henry Cavill or like Ben Affleck to do it?
No, I'll do it myself. Marcus Cruz, Caden is an idiot. Caden for sure has mental deficiencies. The guy is a literal idiot. Is the book out now? No, the book probably won't be out until my goal is for the summer of next year, hopefully. But I'm not making any promises because it's not an easy. This has not been an easy book to read. I mean to write at all. They are internet psychos. Oh my God, Tim's talk looks just like Harrison Ford. Is there any Kama Sutra tips in the book? We got Brandon in the chat. What's up? What's going on? We got Zod. I think you should calm down. The whole circus has come here today. Yeah, it has. What's up, Zod? You guys are talking facts, man. Did you miss my super chat, ZodWriter? If you sent a super chat, I did miss it. I will have to go back and find it somehow. I don't know how though, because maybe when I came out, I lost it. I don't know. But I do apologize. I'll have to go back and look after the stream and see, and I will address it on the next stream. Talati, I'm so sorry because I do not see it in here at all. Don't feel bad about that, Zod. Stream when you need to stream. You put out good content. Thank you, Super Bro Corey. Appreciate it. James Gunn says, I appreciate you doing the stream, Zod. Great channel name, by the way. First time watching. Thank you, James Gunn. He knows it's not James Gunn. I have a bad feeling Superman film will basically be like Man of Tomorrow, the animated one in the Tomorrowverse, which, mind you, was off the rebooted DCAU, which had the Darkseid War. What's up, ZodWriter? Sounds perfect, Zod. Thanks for the update. Looking forward to the book. It was great to catch up with you guys. Keep me in the know about the book. This is the first I've heard about it. We should catch up on StreamYard sometime. All the best, lads. And we've got Movie Madness Entertainment. Hey, Zod. So I think I am caught up for the first time, and that's simply because I left and came back because I wanted to get rid of some of the people who were creating a problem. But, we've been going for 2.5 hours now, and there is another stream going on right now as we speak, another Sil Nation stream. Skywalker is currently streaming, and Skywalker has what? He's got a lot of people watching. And it seems like everybody that was here kind of went over there to see what Skywalker and the Cool Table's doing. So we're going to go ahead and the war is just getting started, Zah. What does that mean? All right. Well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and end today's stream. Now I'm getting a headache, and you guys, I appreciate all you guys for being here. Shout outs to everybody. Shout out to Bat Dan for joining us on the stream. But me and Johnny are going to wrap it up. And next week, I promise, Johnny and I will, the next time we stream, which will be next, I want to say next Wednesday, right, Johnny? The 21st. The next time we stream, Johnny and I will give our holiday movie picks for the year.
Yeah, man. Sounds good.
So let's see. Zod, are you a gamer? Would you be down for the DCU games if there was a full reboot? Yeah, I play a lot of games. I enjoy them. I love the Injustice games. Play a lot of classic DC games. So yeah, I'm looking forward to any new games that come out. And Taladia, if you said you sent me a super chat, I still haven't found it. I will look and see if I can find it. It should come up on my in my YouTube settings, so I should be able to identify it and address it on the next stream. So thank you very much again. See you later, Zeno. So with that, guys, I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Everybody go over to Skywalker's stream now and tell him that ZodWriter sent you. All right? I'm going to probably pop up over there myself in a little bit, but I got to talk to Johnny about a couple of things. So I may make it, I may not. If I don't make it, I'll watch the replay. Shout out to Sil Nation. Hashtag the Mikeyverse. Hashtag the Cool Table. See you guys later. Good night, everybody.